Hello, my name is Bert Oliva. I've been doing seminars for over 21 years now all over the world. And one of the things that I pride myself on is finding global gems. And Shawn Thomas, Ask a Millionaire, is one of those. What you're about to experience is an amazing story, and I really wanted to share with you.
So my name is Shawn Thomas. On social media, I go under the handle Ask a Millionaire. And I'm a mentor, a coach, and a philanthropist. So I built up a IT company selling at hotels when I was 32. And I sold the company when I was 43. I started it out with $500 and an idea. And I built the dream, created a traditional company, didn't have much money, but I got resourceful. Google was like my best friend for research. And I built the company up to about 100 employees and about 20 million in revenue and sold the company. So back in 1999, I was 39 years old. Oh, I'm sorry, 29 years old. Shit, I wasn't that old. So back in 1999, I was 29 years old and I was very naive. I was very impressionable and I was very lost. And I was pretty broke. So I got affiliated in this business as a partner in this LLC to bring a dial-up technology. You know, we all have Wi-Fi and high-speed internet now, but back in 1999, it was all dial-up, and it was hardwired connections. So I got involved in this business, and it was a little shady at first, and I probably should have run, but I liked the technology and I liked the direction of what the idea was. So eventually, one of the partners that I was doing business with turned out to be shady, and we had to boot him out, but I still really liked the concept of the company. So for about a year and a half, we tried to get this company off the to the races, and all of a sudden, as we started to get a little traction and make some sales, broadband technology came out. The product was we were selling to hotels. Back in 1999, Microsoft owned this product called Web TV. It was like an Apple TV box. It was in the set-top box industry, and you hooked up this Web TV unit to a television and a phone line, and you got internet access. And so we were trying to sell this product to hotels because every guest room in a hotel has a telephone and a TV. So we thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool to give people internet access in the hotel guest room? All right, if you guys are still with me, give me a thumbs up. I don't know if you guys are listening to me or what, but I just want to make sure you guys are still with me. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you guys are still alive out there. Sometimes people just get enthralled in my stories that they forget. You know, I love that you guys just get enthralled and start listening. So, all right, I just want to make sure you guys are there. So we're selling this set-top box technology to hotels, and the hotels are starting to come around to it, and they're starting to like it. And so we start to get a little traction and start selling some hotels on it. And then all of a sudden, broadband technology comes out, high-speed internet. Well, that basically killed us. It literally killed our company. We couldn't sell another hotel. So we started scrambling, trying to develop a set-top box with high-speed internet, but the technology just wasn't ready yet. So for about a year, we tried all kinds of different things, and we spent every dollar we had. And at the end of the day, when I was 32, so fast forward to 2002, we had to shut the company down. But during that time, guys, what's important about that part of the story is how many of you I tell you to develop a business plan and get to know the market and prove the concept. I learned more in that 3 years of failure, learning about the hotel industry, learning about how the hotels buy, learning about vendor relationships and technology. And then I learned so much about technology that before I started this company with these guys, I knew nothing about technology. But after 3 years, I was expert level at wiring, internet technology, telephone systems, and the infrastructure in hotels. So I knew I was onto something, and I didn't want it to go to waste. So I started in my own mind playing with ideas of the next generation of product. So I came up with an idea for a product, and I approached my business, the guys that I was still in business with, and I said, hey guys, I really think this product has merit, and this could be a big company someday. Do you guys still want to be involved? Awesome, Sock. I appreciate you guys reaching me to 7 million. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. So I got to stop saying so much too. I keep catching myself saying so. I come up with this idea. I asked the guys that I was in business with, do you guys want to be involved with this? They turned it down. And I said, I'm going to do this. I know that this is a product that is going to be successful. And it doesn't take a lot of money to invest in it. I had $500 left over from just insurance commissions because I was still selling insurance and getting some commissions from residual commissions. I take that $500 and I start an LLC. It was a single member LLC to start off, just me. I research the product that I want to sell and I buy a Dell computer system off lease because I couldn't afford to buy a new one. I find some software in Germany that fits the application of what I want to do. It's called kiosk software, and the software is called Site Kiosk. You guys can Google it right now. Site Kiosk is owned by a company called Provisio out of Germany. I reached out to the guy in Miami that was running it, and I said, hey, I want to do this. I want to use your software, and I want to put it on this computer I'm going to put in hotels. And like, okay, sounds good. They helped me tweak it a little bit, and my idea was this. I'm going to put this computer in a hotel lobby, and guests are going to use this computer to surf the web, to check email, to print out documents, and all things like that. And what I'm going to do to make money is I'm going to create it so that when someone walks up to the computer screen, a landing page, a website, is forced as the first interaction. It's called a guest user interface, a GUI. And on that interface is going to be that this system is going to be like a little concierge computer system for you to find places to go over and eat. So I was going to put the computer in the lobby of a hotel, and then I was going to go down the street to the restaurants and have them advertise on the computer, and that's how I would make money. So that's how I made money. I convinced a hotel to be the first guinea pig. They were going to get it for free. I was going to sell some advertising. It was going to benefit the hotel guest, and that was going to be the business. The hotel owner says, okay. I go down, I start selling some advertising. The restaurants say, okay, I'll advertise on that hotel computer. So I took the money that I made from the advertising. I put a little in my pocket, paid some past due bills, because every bill was pretty much past due at this juncture in my life, and then I bought some more computer systems. And I think I bought, it's hard for me to remember, guys, it was so long ago, but I think I got about 3 or 4 computer systems installed. And I kept selling advertising, and I'm going, okay, I've got a legitimate business. Now I have done what's called proving the concept, proof of concept. So now I know the business idea works. I've talked to the customers. I've made some sales. Now it's time to scale the business. So I go down to this guy. So you guys always ask me all the time, how do I raise money for my business? So here's the raising money part of the business. Mind you, I'm broke, but I have proven the concept. So I go and I find a website using Google. Google was my best friend. I Google how to create a business plan, and I find this software called Business Plan Pro. I still remember, it was Business Plan Pro, and it was like $99. So I download the software, and it has a template, and I start making up all kinds of shit because I have no idea how to build a fucking business plan. Earmuffs. I have no idea how to build a business plan. So I go and I start filling out this business plan and the financials and all this type of stuff. And I'm just kind of making this shit up, guys. I've never run a company, so I didn't think about insurance. I didn't think about taxes. I didn't think about legal bills. I didn't think about accounting bills. I'm focused just on, I can make this much money. The computers cost me this much. This is how much I have left over. I'm going to make a bunch of money. And that was my initial business plan. But I put it together. It's like 10, 12 pages. So I call this guy up on the phone, and one of my old business partners in the business that just failed. And in that business, they had went out there and borrowed $200,000 from an investor. And that investor lost all $200,000 of that money in our business. But it wasn't me. They had given it to my business partners. So I called Nash. The guy's name was Ignacio. He was my partner. His name was Nash. And I called up Nash, and I said, hey, Nash, would you give me Jason's phone number? Because I think I have a way that I can make him back that $200,000. And so would you give me his number? Because I want to call him up. So mind you, I don't know Jason. He knows who I am. He knows I was the CEO of the previous venture. But this guy had lost $200,000, like literally. And he was a professional tennis player. If you guys go to my website at ShawnThomas.com, his name is there. You can Google who he is. You can reach out to him. He knows who I am. You know, his name is Jason Stoltenberg. He used to be a professional tennis player, number 14 in the world. Then he was a coach for Leighton Hewitt, who was during Leighton Hewitt's big hurrah when he was number 1 in the world. So Jason's a really cool guy, legit guy. I thank him in my website, in my bio. So I call up Jason and I say, hey, Jason, I know you don't know me personally, but you know who I am. I want to come down and I want to meet with you because I've got a new business plan for a product to sell to the hotels, and I want to talk to you about it. I want to borrow some money. I want you to invest in this business. Mind you, this guy lost $200,000 in a business that just failed. So he says, sure, Shawn, I've heard a lot of great things about you. Why don't you come down? So I fly down to Orlando, and I meet with him and his wife, and Andrea, great woman as well. And I sit down with them, and I go over the business plan, and I say, what I want to do is this. I need $25,000. I just need $25,000. I don't need a lot. You know, I just need $25,000. And I will make you back. I will give you 51% of the company. We didn't even negotiate about value, guys, because the company wasn't worth anything yet. It was still in idea mode, pretty much. So I said, as a sign of good faith, I'll give you 51% of the company. So you're in control. You're 100% in control. I just want a chance. I know that this thing's going to make money. So that's a little bit of my naivety, guys, that I didn't have a guy like Ask a Millionaire, Shawn Thomas, to guide me on this negotiation. So I just go out there and throw out 51% because I was pretty desperate. And desperation will cause you to make decisions in your life that could come back and haunt you. But luckily, Jason was just such a good guy, it didn't. Okay? So I fly back home. Jason agrees to give me $25,000. I take that $25,000. I put it into like 10 or 15 more computers. I pay off a little bit of debt that I have, but not much, like $1,000, $1,500 just to pay some past bills that kept my house actually, because my house was almost about to be foreclosed. And so I buy the computers. I hire an independent contractor girl to start selling some advertising with me, and I was going to go out there and get the hotels to work with, and she was going to go out there and sell advertising. So real quickly in selling to the hotels. Is this story getting boring, guys? I mean, this is a long story, so I don't know if you guys are really appreciating this. If people are like, this is boring, we want to talk to you about something else. So give me a thumbs up if you like this, or if you want me to stop, you know, but this is my story. Okay, good. All right, good. So I go out and real quickly, I appreciate that, guys, and thanks for sharing the scope, guys. I really appreciate that, too. I see that there's some new people coming in the room. So I got to quit saying so. I go out and I quickly find out how the hotel industry actually works, which is this way. So let's say there's a Hampton Inn. The company name was Uniguest, and you can go to my website at ShawnThomas.com, but the company name was Uniguest. I found out that just because the hotel down the street is there doesn't mean that the owner or the manager that makes the decisions works at that hotel. It could be another hotel owner that's based in another city that pays a management company to manage that hotel, but all decisions are made by somebody somewhere else. So I come across this hotel, and they say, we don't make the decisions for the hotel. It's this management company called Thoroldson Property Management based in Nebraska, based in Nebraska. And you got to call them. So I'm like, well, can you give me their information? And I'm like, okay. So they give me their information. I call this guy Sid Lean. He'll never watch my Periscope. But over time I developed this amazing relationship with Sid. But I call Sid and I say, hey, I'm doing these business center computers, and he agrees to let me put one in his hotel over there. So then I'm like, well, here's the problem. And he says, can you do this for any more of our other hotels in other parts of the country? Because we're the largest franchisee for Marriott. We own like 300 hotels. And I said, well, I could install the computer systems, but I don't think I could go sell the advertising because there's just not enough margins. There's just not enough margins for me to fly all the way over there for $1,200 worth of advertising sales. I said, so I don't know how I could handle that. So I wasn't sure. So he says, well, we might do this ourselves, but yeah, you can do that hotel Memphis. So then now here's the next phase, guys. So now I've talked to you about starting a business with $500. I've talked to you about the proof of concept and building a business plan. I've talked to you about how I went out and raised $25,000 from an investor and how I negotiated a deal. So now what I'm going to do is teach you about networking. So during this time I'm in Memphis, and the Memphis has a Memphis Hotel Association. So I get involved with the Memphis Hotel Association, and at that association, I go over to this booth where these people are they put magazines in hotels, and they do guest room directories, the printed guest room directory in the room. And then I start talking to them, and they say, well, yeah. I said, well, how do you guys pay for this? Do the hotels buy these directories from you? And the lady says, no, we give them to the hotel for free, and then we go sell advertising to the restaurants and businesses here in the city that want to advertise in it. Ding, 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 ding. Oh my God, are you serious? How many hotels do you do this for? Oh, we do this for thousands of hotels all across the country. Well, you know what? I'm putting computers in the hotels and I'm selling advertising on it. We need to do a partnership. I can do the computers, you sell the advertising. This is a deal made in heaven. So they introduced me to the guy that owns the company, Mark Oldham. And I call Mark on the phone and I tell him what I'm doing. And he basically says, you know, Shawn, you seem like a nice guy. I like you. But I've been doing advertising for a long time. I've tried all kinds of things in hotels, and I just don't think computers in a hotel is a good idea. I don't think that people are going to do this. I really don't. I just don't believe in the product. But you keep in touch, and here's my one piece of advice to you for free. I would sell the computers to hotels. I would sell it to them, and then I would charge them an annual support fee to keep the computer up and running. You know, clean the keyboard, clean up the software, do whatever. If it breaks down, they got somebody to call. And that way you make an initial profit off the sale, and you start building recurring revenue stream. Had never heard of recurring revenue at this time, guys. Never. And I'm like, what is recurring revenue stream? And he's like, well, the cool thing is once you get 50, think about it like when you sold insurance. When someone paid their premium up front, you got paid a commission, right? And I'm like, yeah. But when they wrote their premium check the next year, you got a smaller commission and it was residual income, right? And I'm like, yeah. He says, so you would look at this the same way. You sell the hotel the computer system and you get an upfront commission, but then you sell them an annual maintenance contract, and every year you keep them happy. You don't have to redo anything. You just keep them happy, and you keep building up those recurring revenue streams, and that's how you grow a business. And the value of your business will be that much stronger because recurring revenue carries a higher valuation on your company, and someday you might have something. I'm like, I would have never thought about that. Thanks for the advice. So what did I do? I was humble. I didn't know everything. This guy was running a multi-million-dollar business. I'm going to listen to this guy. What do I have to fucking lose? So I start selling the computer system to hotels, charging them an annual maintenance contract, and initially it was like $300 a year. They're like, you know what, Shawn? Our guests really like this product. We'll go ahead and start paying you for you to serve this because you do come out here and service the computer when it breaks down. So they had no problem paying me the $300. And over time, I increased that price, but that's how the idea of charging for it and asking an annual maintenance fee and advertising went away. I completely stopped selling the advertising and focused on selling the computers. But here's the cool thing. Now I could call Sid Lean at Thoroldson back and say, hey, Sid, I can now do any one of your hotels, but I can't do it for free. You need to pay for it. So over time, I convinced him to pay for it. And that's how I used networking at a hotel association meeting to talk to another entrepreneur that had a similar type of business and a different product. And networking got me a great idea. And it was he wasn't a mentor, guys, at this time. He just let me bounce ideas off of him, but I didn't say, would you be my mentor? I never said, would you be my mentor? What I showed him is that I'm a legit guy trying to build a business, and would you mind talking to me about it? Can I bounce an idea off you? But I didn't come out and put him on the defensive and asked him to be obligated to give me advice and me to call him. I just brought some value as an entrepreneur, and he liked me, so he picked up the phone call from time to time. So he kept saying, just keep in touch and let me know how it goes. Because he's an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are always wanting to be affiliated with other people and give back. We just don't want people just asking and, and putting us on the spot. We want people to say, hey, can I ask you a question? What's my name on Instagram, guys? What's my social media handle? Ask a Millionaire. What am I doing all the time? Answering questions. Comes full circle, right? So, dang it, I said so again. Stop. I implement this strategy. I end up building the company up to about 110 hotel customers. And I get my big break. Embassy Suites calls me and says, Shawn, you're installed in our Embassy Suites here in Memphis, and through a stroke of luck, Hilton is based in Memphis, the Embassy Suites brand. And all the bigwigs from Beverly Hills that were affiliated with Hilton in Beverly Hills, whenever they would come to Memphis and come to the corporate headquarters of the Hampton Inn brand, the Homewood Suites brand, the Embassy Suites brand, they stayed at the Embassy Suites. Okay? Elisa, don't take it there. Don't take it there. So they stay at this hotel, and they were using this system, and they go to the Embassy Suites brand and they go, hey, what is this business center room that you've put together with these two computer systems? That's pretty nifty. We're creating in our brand strategies that we want to go after the business traveler, because the Embassy Suites brand has really been earmarked towards kids, because we had the pool, they had arcades, all this stuff, and this really fits exactly. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you for the high elevation of thought there, Ryan. Appreciate it. So, dang it, so they call me up and they say, Shawn, we want to talk to you about this business center stuff you're doing over here at the Embassy Suites. Can you come and meet us? And I'm like, sure. I show up, and they're like, there's like 5-6 people in the room, all right? And at this time, I had built the revenue up to about $200,000 a year. So at this time, I'm at $200,000 of revenue, and I think I'm making maybe $50,000 to $75,000 a year. So this is 2005. So from 2002 being broke, over 3-4 years, I built the company to about $200,000 in revenue, and now I'm actually making some money. So now I'm actually getting some stability in my life, right? They say, Shawn, we like your product. Can you do this at all 450 of our hotels across the country? And I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. I can do this. I'm going to have to create some new things, but yeah. And they're like, yeah, and we'll help you out with that. What we're envisioning is this. We help you create this hotel in a box. You send it to the hotels, and you create the processes so that when it arrives at the hotel, all they have to do is plug it in, connect it to the internet, call you, and you walk them through how to activate the software. We create a custom Embassy Suites branded interface, and it's ready to go. You don't have to actually physically go out there and do each installation. If you can create it where the hotels can do the on-site installation with an installation guide, we can make this happen. And I'm like, absolutely, I can make that happen. So Embassy Suites says, okay, put together what you think you can charge us, and come back in, I don't know, it must have been like 2 weeks, and present it to us. So I go back and I freak out. So now I'm freaked the fuck out. I don't know how to put together systems and processes. I've never done that crap before. So I call Mark. And I say, Mark, I need some help, dude. I'm in negotiations with Embassy Suites hotels, and they want to use my system all over the country, and I don't know what to do. And I can't handle this. Would you like to be a partner in my company? Now, meanwhile, let's go back a little bit. Jason is still my partner. He owns 51% of the company. I own 49%. I haven't given Jason back any money yet. This is 3 years. I'm keeping in touch with Jason, but I haven't given him any money back yet. But I'm keeping him in touch and saying, we're building something, Jason. This is getting somewhere. But I'm not asking Jason. I had committed to Jason in the very beginning that I would not ask him for any more money. So I wasn't going to ask him. So at that time, I wasn't drawing a salary, guys. I was just taking money out of the company to pay my bills, but I hadn't officially gone on salary. When you're a small business owner like that, you just take money out of the company when you need it. You don't really think about putting yourself on a quote unquote salary, not that type of stuff. I just took money when I had extra cash and I needed it. I call Mark and I say, Mark, I need a new partner. I need someone that can help me grow this business. Would you want to get involved? And he says, all right, Shawn, put together an updated business plan. Show me your numbers. Show me what the Embassy Suites deal could represent, how much you're thinking about charging. Tell me about this recurring revenue stream, and then I'll get together with you. So I put all that stuff together. Mark comes down and he visits with me in Memphis, and then he says, okay, Shawn, I like you, but I want you to talk to my business consultant. This is a guy that I run by my ideas, and he's really good at understanding and analyzing people. And I want you to meet with him because I always trust his opinion on people. And when I invest in businesses, the biggest thing is, who am I getting into bed with? Who am I actually getting into a legal partnership with? Because I have to protect my name, my reputation, my assets, everything. So here's the lesson, you guys, on partnerships. When you get into a relationship with somebody in a partnership, you're legally bound, and now you could be taking on their liabilities as well. So you really want to know who you are getting into business with. So you might have a great business opportunity, but maybe you're in debt. Maybe you've done some criminal activity in the back that I need to know about. So I'm going to do a full background check on you, and I expect you to do it on me, and I want to know who I'm getting into business with. So Mark sends this guy down to Memphis to meet with me. His name is Joe, and we have a big old conversation. At this moment, Joe knows I've got some stuff that's happened in my past. And he's like, Shawn, I need to know about your past, what you've been through. And I said, well, I claimed bankruptcy in 1995. I claimed bankruptcy. I can't lie about that. I owe 4 years of back taxes. So I owe the IRS about $100,000. And my house is almost being foreclosed. I had a car repossessed. My credit was pretty much shit. And so that's my past. And so I was very honest about where I was. And Joe went back to Mark and said, you know what, Mark, this guy, he has some debt, but I think he's a good guy. I think he's honest. I think he's a hard worker. He's ambitious. He's charismatic. All the things that are in the article that I tell you guys about. And he's very passionate about being something in life. He's very ambitious. So I would give him the green light. So Mark called me up and he said, okay, Shawn, here's the deal that I'd be willing to do with you. I want 51% of the company. And I'm like, well, Jason already owns 51%. I don't know how I could do that, but I'm going to give you, we're going to value your company at this. So this was my first delving into business valuation. Once again, guys, I didn't have a business consultant like Shawn Thomas here. Okay. I didn't have an Ask a Millionaire. So I had nobody to go to. My parents aren't entrepreneurs, so I didn't have anybody to go to. So I probably could have negotiated a better deal, but I was negotiating from a place of weakness. So I didn't really know what I don't know. You guys hear a lot of times we talk about this. You don't know what you don't know. I take the deal with Mark. We value the company. He writes me a check for like $125,000, $130,000, and then I get an earn out of, if I hit these certain revenue marks, I get additional money after I prove myself. So that $125,000 allowed me to pay off the IRS, get completely debt free, sell my house for what I owe in it. So I broke even selling and didn't owe any. I was able to buy a car. I leased a car. I moved to Nashville where he was. He had an office that I could start working out of, and we got into business together. And we said, now let's go talk to Embassy Suites. This all happened like in a week and a half, like fast. So we go to Embassy Suites hotels, and Embassy Suites sits down. Over this last 2 weeks, they've called a lot of my hotel customers that I gave them as references. They sit down and we're in this boardroom and they say, okay, Shawn, we've done some background check on you in Uniguest, and you came in here saying we've got a great company and we give great service, and here's what we found out. We found out that Uniguest provides great service. Yes, Uniguest does. But we also found out from our hotels that every time they call, that you pick up the phone. You're the person picking up the phone. We quickly realized that you're Uniguest. You don't have a company. You are Uniguest. There's no team. There's no customer service agents. There's no 800 number. When people call Uniguest, they're calling Shawn. And you pick up the phone at 12 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning. You always pick up the phone. People say that when they call, you always pick up and you always call back and you always get something taken care of. You need to create a company now. And I introduce Mark and I say, I'm glad you guys understand this. And I say, I'm glad you guys feel that way because I am now going to go into business with Mark. Mark is a vendor of yours already. He owns U.S. Hospitality. He's one of your vendors. I'm moving to Nashville. We're creating the processes. I have an office, an 800 number, and now you know I have the infrastructure and team to satisfy what you guys are looking for. And then hashtag boom. Shawn, you got the deal. Let's do this. Man, you talk about cloud 9 of winning a deal. This was the first exclusive single vendor contract given to a company like mine in the history of the hotel industry. Every Embassy Suites was going to be required to use our product and service. Now, if you ever sell to franchisors and franchisees, this is the gold standard of a contract. There's no more sales. They have to do business with you. Now you do what's called pull through. And you have to reach out to all of the franchisees, introduce yourself, say you're sorry that this was rammed down their throat by the franchisor, and prove why you're the company that they should be comfortable with, which is hard in itself. And you do the pull through. So that's negotiation time. This is experience of anybody that's going to sell to a franchise organization. This is your lesson in selling to franchises. Earlier, I was selling to the franchisee, where the decision was, some decisions could be made by the franchisee, but some decisions have to actually be approved as a vendor by the franchisor. And I just closed a deal with Embassy Suites Hotel, not to be on the approved or preferred vendor list, but now I'm the mandated exclusive vendor list, which is the Mecca. That is big franchisee education for you that are going to try to sell in the franchise community. Now, the next step is the next lesson in business, which is delegation and scaling a business. To this point, I was a one-man show. I developed the product, bought the product through the vendors, got the computers ready for installation, shipped it, installed it over the phone with the hotels, billed them, took the payment, called them when they were late, saying pay me, servicing them when they called me. I was doing it all. Every single facet of the business. Operations, finance, sales, and marketing. All of it. Now it's time to build a business. Go from self-employed to business ownership. Delegation. Building a team. Did I have any experience in this? Hell no. So what did I do? I started reading. I started reading about management skills, leadership, vision, creating company culture. All the books that I post on my Instagram account on Ask a Millionaire. All the posts that I'm putting on my Pinterest account, Ask a Millionaire. Okay? My first hire was my administrative executive assistant. My second hire, after I took it a little further, was an operations manager. I was 36 at this time, 36 years old. I hired an operation manager. So how do you find good people? Here's your next lesson. There's no one way to find good people, guys. It can come in all different ways. And here's the interesting story of how I found my operations manager, who is now a vice president with Uniguest. He still works for the company. I'm talking to my dad, about this business. And he says, well, Shawn, I realize, it sounds like you're working 24 hours a day. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, it's fucking killing me. He says, well, what can help you? And I said, you know what I need? I need a computer guy. I need someone who knows how to work on computers, that can handle all this computer stuff, because that's where I'm spending the most of my time, because I really need to be on the phone talking to these hotels and signing them up. So my dad, of all people, my dad's not an entrepreneur, guys. He was in the military. He says, I got a friend down in Atlanta, and he knows a guy. I don't even know why he was even talking about this, but I'll reach out to him and see if he knows anybody in the computer business. And I go, Dad, I'm in Nashville, not Atlanta. He says, well, let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. So he calls me like the next 2 days. He says, there's this kid that works at the VA, because my dad's a veteran. He works at the VA working on computers and seems like a nice kid. And so I had my friend ask him if he'd be interested in talking to you, and he said, yeah. And so here's his number. And I'm like, well, all right. I mean, this is kind of weird, right? This is kind of weird that my dad knows some guy in Atlanta who knows a kid that works in computers at the Veterans Administration Hospital, right? So I call Harry up, and I say, hey, Harry, I'm Shawn. I'm building this company. Here's what I'm doing. Would you be interested in coming up to Nashville and interviewing? And he's like, sure. So Harry comes up, and me and Mark go to lunch with Harry, and we're sitting here telling him about this idea of the company. It's brand new. We just get this contract. Harry's like, is this shit legit? Harry's kind of skeptical at first. He's one of those types, typical IT, IT guy. They're not the most personable guys. They're kind of IT, And we convince Harry to move to Nashville. We'll give him some money to move him to Nashville, and he's going to be the operations manager of this business. So Harry was my first hire, and it was from my dad knowing a guy in Atlanta at this hospital that knew Harry. That's how I found my first real employee. So it can come from all different ways, guys. When you put out, so this is your next lesson on the law of attraction. When you put out to the universe what you're looking for, i.e., I was talking to my dad, telling him what I needed, the universe will conspire to help you. It's that simple. I believe in that firmly. If you talk about it, then people are going to know what you're looking for, and people will try to help you. It's that simple. And I got the help I was looking for. I hire Harry. We start building this kit to send out to the embassy suites. And then I started building the company, guys. I hired a first independent contractor. Actually, you know what? Let me go back. Earlier on, guys, I did hire an independent contractor sales guy that helped me sign up hotels. I forgot about that. I did hire an independent contractor sales guy by the name of Michael Rooms. I think he's still with the company too. He was a guy that I hired as an independent contractor because I had no money. But my first real employee was the executive assistant and Harry, the operations manager. Then I started building out the customer service team. I hired some more customer service team guys. Then I hired another bookkeeper to start handling all the financial stuff. Then I hired some more salespeople. Then I hired some more customer service people. Then I hired some IT development people. Then I finally hired an internal graphic designer, marketing person, and the company just kept growing, guys. So we took the company from when Mark bought into the company, we were doing $200,000. Each year we went from 200 to 458 to 786. I remember these number, guys, because you just remember this shit when you look back at your past. From 786 to 1.2 to 2.3 to 3.4 to 5.7 to 7.8. And that's when we reached Inc. 500 status. Inc. 500 it measures the growth and kind of compares you to other entrepreneurs, and you get this award called the Inc. 500 award. You get in the magazine, Inc. magazine. It was so fucking cool. And then over time, the next thing that you guys ask me about is you talk about how do you lead people, how do you manage people. So we started getting involved in creating a culture. I branded our customer service team, the U Crew. I made a big cake with their logo on it, got them t-shirts, because they all were in this little room, like a boiler room, all answering phones like a call center room. So I wanted them to have their own little tribe. There's a book about building tribes in your culture, and so I wanted them to be these guys. When they walked around, they had their t-shirts, and they were the customer service crew, baby. And then you start building those things, and then we started attending trade shows, and the company just grew, and you just start learning. And by then, guys, when you're making some money, you're attending workshops, you're attending peer exchange groups within your community. You're doing all kinds of stuff like that. And you just keep learning. You just keep learning and investing in your business and growing. And so that's how I built a company with $500. So to end the story, I ended up merging Uniguest with Mark's company, U.S. Hospitality, so that we could expand and really be one company. We kept the name Uniguest, even though U.S. Hospitality actually bought Uniguest in a transaction. We kept the name Uniguest because it had a more powerful name, and Uniguest could grow into more things with the name. So we kept Uniguest instead of U.S. Hospitality, because really we went global. So U.S. Hospitality, we chose Uniguest to keep the name. In 2009, that happened. By 2010, I experienced my first lesson of partnership struggles of a 50-50 relationship. We started to have power issues because Mark was a CEO of his company and I was the CEO of mine. When we merged, I stayed as CEO and Mark took on president duties, but in reality, he wanted to be the CEO. He didn't want to give up control of the CEO. So we ran into our biggest power issues and we tried to work through it for a couple years. Did not work. The relationship went completely sour, 100% sour, and we could not resolve it. We didn't have enough. We were so big now that neither of us would be able to buy each other out because we would have to agree to a non-compete. And so we just got into this big power struggle. The company kept doing great. We didn't skip a beat, but behind the scenes, we're having all these problems. It started to bleed into some of the managers, and we just finally said, you know what, we need to sell the company. We brought in a CEO to take my place, to get it ready for sale. This was a seasoned, older guy that had been down the road of raising money for companies our size. They displaced me as CEO. We got an investment banker. This time, when you have a company of the size that we had, you start using investment bankers to go out there and solicit your organization for sale because they have the relationships with these groups called private equity groups, which you can Google, private equity groups. And it took about 2 years to sell the company. I stayed on with salary so I could still continue my lifestyle. I had put some money away, but I kept on salary. We kept it cordial. In 2013, we sold the company to a private equity group. It was a clean sweep deal where I sold. Oh, good question, sir. Where we sold, and now I'm doing what I'm doing. So back to Jason, the initial investor with the $25,000, and my promise to make him back the $200,000. When I sold 51% of the company to Mark, I wrote a check to Jason. I don't even remember the amount, but it was enough to pay him back the $25,000 and have a profit. And he kept, I want to say he kept 5% of the company. That 5%, when Mark and I did distributions of profit share each year in the form of bonuses, we kept paying Jason money. And over the next few years, Jason got all of his $200,000 back and then some. And I was true to my word. He made all of his money back. So that's what happened with Jason. So he was made whole not only of the 25 I directly borrowed from him, but I held true to my word and made him back his entire $200,000 that he lost in the previous venture and additional. So that's what happened with Jason. And there you go. That is how I turned $500 in an idea into a $20 million company with a multi-million-dollar exit. And now I'm financially independent and can live off the interest income. And at the end of the day, You got to get out there and do. If you don't get out there and do, you can't make anything happen. So that is the moral of the story.